Hannah, you spoke to us this morning about the invitation that you believe God offers us to grow, to become more and more independent, to come to take the steps for ourselves and not rely on God to do it for us, just as kids need to learn to take the steps for themselves and not rely on their parents to carry them forward in the world. You talked about that reflecting on the few lines of your maftir this morning. But I want to suggest that it's bigger than that. That those couple of lines in this beautiful question that you asked is actually the essential question of the whole trajectory of the book of Exodus that we complete today. The book of Exodus begins with our ancestors as slaves, stripped of any sense of personhood or agency, only able to do exactly as they're told or face the harshest of consequences. And then a remarkable story begins to develop. A story of liberation and the possibility of a different kind of life. A hero, Moses, who after being charged by God at a burning bush, comes back to the people and announces to them that the time is right to claim their freedom. And the people respond back, says the Torah, bekotzer ruach, out of breath, out of soul, unable to respond to the call of Moses on their own, broken down after so many years of slavery and degradation. And so God needs to step in and do it for us. Big miracles, 10 plagues, a split sea, a people taken by the hand and brought out of Egypt, brought to meet their destiny. But God doesn't want it to be that way forever. After the deliverance of our people, biyad hazakah uvazroa netuyah, with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, God brings us to school, to the base of Mount Sinai, where we're to learn the laws and rules to allow us to create a community of our own, to allow us to build something for ourselves. And then we have a final project, a culminating activity, which takes up the third act of the book of Exodus, which is to physically come together and build a place for God to dwell in our midst. We go from dependence on our Egyptian taskmasters, dependence on a God who does it all for us, to at the end of this book, creating something extraordinary with our own hands, from what we have, from the outpouring of the chokhmat lev, the wisdom that's in our hearts. It's a journey from dependence to independence, to claiming our own agency in the world, to make room for holiness. Freud said that religion was a delusional neurosis. Marx said that religion was the opiate of the masses. But the truth that we believe is that religion at its core is not meant to pacify us, is not meant to distract us from the reality of the world. Religion at our core is about teaching us how to live empowered, how to build space in the world for holiness, how to create the possibility of miracles with our own hands, with our own hearts and minds. Cantor Amy likes to talk about the kind of Judaism that we practice here at CBI as an empowered Judaism. And I hope for those of you who are our guests this morning that you saw that in action, that you saw the extraordinary collection of Torah readers who come up week after week, more than 100 of them every year, to read Torah for one another. that you see if you come to this community regularly, people participating in making the most extraordinary things happen at every different level. From an amazing gala planned by our members last week in honor of our former president, Phyllis Abrams, to the work that we've done over the course of this year to resettle a refugee family from Ukraine, to get them into safe housing, and to help them to get onto their feet. To countless other examples, big and small, of how we as a community build extraordinary things for ourselves, that it grows from the ground up to make something bigger than any one of us could do alone. I love practicing an empowered and empowering Judaism. I love being part of a religious tradition that teaches me not to be meek and quiet, but invites me to be a partner with God and a co-creator in the world. And that really, Hannah, most of all, is what becoming a bat mitzvah is about taking on. That you, as you said, are growing toward independence. But it's not the kind of independence that's about casting off. That's about letting go of. It's not about losing track of where you come from or who are your people or what are the most important values that you were raised with. It's rather about claiming them for yourself. It's about taking all of the love and teaching and tradition that you've been offered, taking it in your hands and deciding what it is that you're going to build in the world. How you, as now an empowered adult in our community, are going to create a place for God to dwell. That's a challenge for our bat mitzvah, but that challenge doesn't go away when we get past 13. That is our challenge as Jews, day after day, week after year, every year of our lives. Our challenge is to take all that we've been given, to know that God is not going to heal the world for us. God is not going to do the work for us, but we have been given everything that we need in order to do it for each other. Shabbat Shalom. We'll continue with Musa.